Hi everybody, my name is Elise Molleur and I'm a Brownfield Redevelopment Specialist with NJIT TAB. Today, I'm going to be presenting a how-to about storytelling, specifically brownfield storytelling. Storytelling is critical to securing financial resources, partnerships, and community support for your brownfield project, but there's so much more to it. I'll connect the dots of storytelling to the topic of brownfields by identifying key audience members in the brownfield redevelopment process and discussing how data and emotion play a big role in your narrative. Everyone loves a good story, but what really draws us in? Knowing your audience and catering to their likes is a huge part of storytelling, especially with brownfields. If you love the stories you tell, you will convey more emotion and better appeal to your audience. While there are many technical aspects of the brownfield redevelopment process, telling your story with emotion and passion is something that's going to show you as real and relatable. Finally, the characters of your story are just as important as the brownfield itself. Who is being affected? Who are the heroes? What are the obstacles that they may overcome? So why do we tell the story of brownfield sites? By doing this, we can articulate our ideas for the redevelopment process and our site reuse visions, gather input from the audience or other storytellers, appeal to different audience members, energize community involvement by drawing upon emotions and passions, help gain funding, partnerships, grantors, and we can support and amplify underrepresented voices. Let's start at the beginning and discuss how narrative structures can turn any story into a great story. The three-act structure is a model used in narrative fiction that divides a story into three parts, or acts, usually referred to as the setup, confrontation, and resolution. The traditional three-act structure is typically how people tell their stories. Or if you're like me, you have 50 different points and 100 different comments that are never critical to the point of the story. This structure will help you narrow down your project-specific story to the most important elements, so that you will be able to communicate a narrative that is very effective in gaining attention for your brownfield. There are several audience members or key stakeholders involved in the brownfield redevelopment process. First, elected officials. They are focused on the economy and economic impact of these brownfield sites. They want to see the creation of jobs both throughout and after the redevelopment. Property owners. They're concerned with their family legacy and focus on property value, resale potential, lease rates, free money, a clean bill of health, and what kind of inheritance they'll leave behind. Developers and investors are driven by a sense of FOMO, or fear of missing out. They want to know about a return on investment, neighborhood potential, land value, lease rates, and market demand. Residents want something to love. They're interested in livability, a sense of place, the character of their neighborhood, blight elimination, quality of life, and amenities. And finally, grantors. Above all, they want to see their money well spent. They want results, shareable information, groundbreaking ceremonies, and stories that show all that, which is what we call success stories. Gathering, interpreting, and displaying data is crucial to the brownfield redevelopment process. During processes like community engagement and planning, data is collected about the site, community members, and more. This can include demographics such as average incomes, race, population, average age, as well as local information such as amount of affordable housing in the area, how many brownfield sites are in the community or town, and why there are so few or so many, land acreage, and the community's goals and visions for site redevelopment. This data is crucial to writing grants and defining your site. But data is just statistics and numbers, pie charts, and line graphs, until you weave that into a story. By effectively telling our site's story, we create better avenues to access funding, develop relationships with stakeholders and partners, and make our grant applications stand out. Brownfields, specifically former industrial sites, are disproportionately located in areas that are occupied by low-income individuals, people of color, and linguistically isolated communities. The individuals in these communities experience environmental injustice as a result of these sites. Relaying the stories of underrepresented voices, as well as giving them the microphone to share their own stories, can help get marginalized people and communities seen, heard, and acknowledged. Storytelling is a call to action. It's important that we boost the voices and not become the voice. We don't want to speak for marginalized groups, but rather share their story and the facts to amplify their voices. Let's go through a good example of brownfield storytelling. Follow me to Johnson City, New York, where we will find Endicott Johnson Corporation. I'm going to refer to Endicott Johnson as EJ, which is quite fitting for what you're going to learn about the company, as EJ also stands for environmental justice in this field. At one time, EJ was the largest producer of footwear in the US. At its peak, EJ operated dozens of factories in and around the Triple Cities area, consisting of Binghamton, Johnson City, and Endicott. By World War I, it was the world's largest shoe manufacturer, employing more than 30,000 workers. It was the goal of the founders of EJ to create housing opportunities for their employees to live close to where they worked. The company treated its workers fairly, and the president envisioned a campus with healthcare, jobs, a place for recreation, and a sense of community. EJ was a major cultural and economic force in the development of Johnson City in New York. This story works well because a proper backstory was given to engage the community and investors. The history of the town was discussed, as well as the historical importance of the old shoe factory that needed a facelift to better serve their community. By using images, videos, and graphics of how the area would look in the future, they could make their story even more compelling and easier to understand the benefits. Now, the redevelopment attracts new residents and furthers development in the city. There's now affordable housing in the former EJ factory buildings located in Johnson City. These provide opportunities to the working class, which is what the EJ founders initially envisioned with their factories. And thus, the story becomes full circle. If you'd like to learn more about this story, click on the link in the description below. Now that we have unraveled the story of a very real brownfield site that had such a prominent part in Johnson City's history and a full circle redevelopment for greater community use, we have a better idea of how storytelling is used to propel the voices of the community. There are so many aspects and qualities to a great story, and they should be used when we talk about brownfields. Keep these main points in mind. We tell stories to articulate our ideas and visions, appeal to different audience members with different interests, support underrepresented voices, and catalyze community involvement. Don't ignore the narrative portion of your grant application. Use it to tell the story of your site and the people in your community. And telling our stories is critical to gaining financial resources and partnerships. We hope to convey emotion and empower others in our audience. We want to tie the factual data to our narrative. We aim to engage each of our audience members by appealing to their different wants and wishes. And we wish to imagine a better future for these sites. This is why storytelling is a highly impactful aspect to gaining resources, partnerships, and community support for your brownfield project. I hope you learned a lot from this video. Be sure to watch more of our how-to videos on our YouTube channel and our Brownfield Academy page on our website. Our site has a ton of helpful information and resources for your next brownfield project. Thanks for watching!